Boys, girls, Appa, Momo, my dog Mei, whoever is watching this video, we have some Avatar news. Specifically, an unfortunate update on Avatar Studios' second movie, which was going to be focusing on Zuko. We also have Dante Basco's reaction to him and all the other voice actors being recast for the Aang movie, so stay tuned for that. This report is coming straight from Night Edge Media. If you prefer to read the article for yourself, or if you just want to check them out in general, the link in the description box down below. Avatar Studios recently released their first feature-length film based on Avatar The Last Airbender and The Legend of Korra, titled Avatar Aang The Last Airbender. The film has been the primary focus for the animation studio alongside their next animated series, Avatar 7 Havens. However, at one point the studio was going to focus on multiple theatrical films. The creators, Michael Dante DiMartino and Brian Konietzko, revealed at SDCC 2026 that the supposed leaks about the other films were very much half right, half wrong, meaning that they all could be at various stages of development when they were initially leaked by Avatar News in 2022. Some aspects of these films could have been legitimate, or just ideas thrown around as possibilities, like the Avatar Kyoshi film specifically. Everything was put on hold to begin development of the Avatar Aang film, which became the main focus going forward. Okay, so I do want to comment on this just a little bit because I know the interview he's referring to here, I've watched it. Brian was being a little coy when talking about this with Variety. Actually, to be honest, they may not even know why this even leaked. He claims there was a mole leaking information that wasn't entirely accurate. I do know a little bit about this entire situation and how it happened, and you know, I'm too old to be caring about this anymore. I don't care about leaks, I don't care about sources, so I'm just gonna spill the beans. Spill the alleged beans. This is alleged. Essentially, there was a guy with access to Paramount's internal finance sheets, allegedly. This sheet had the project titles or working titles, such as Untitled Zuko Avatar Film, then it had the projected date that they were expecting money to come in for that project. This is how they got Kyoshi, Zuko, Korra having movies on their respective dates. Allegedly, Quest for Balance was the very first thing listed on that sheet for Avatar Studios, which is just kind of funny to me because we all know how that turned out. And we at Night Edge Media have exclusively learned that the rumored Firelord Zuko film was actually the second one in development and furthest along. Apparently, Steven Yeun specifically signed on to voice Zuko for this film, then the Aang film, given his limited lines. In obvious news, the rest of the new voice cast from the Aang movie would appear in this film in some capacity. The production was in the voiceover stage and already had some previs done. However, everything was scrapped in favor for the Avatar Aang movie. I mean, yeah, this pretty much all checks out with what Brian was saying at SDCC, where he basically said they had another movie that was waiting to be greenlit to go into full swing production, and that it was a script that they felt very confident about, but they just needed the Aang movie to do well first. The main plot of the film focused on the mysterious murder of the dragons, Ran and Sha, from book 3 of the original series. This means Zuko would have the last living dragon egg that he finds in book 3 and is an adult in The Legend of Korra. Now I know Mike and Brian don't find retcons to be that big of a deal and are kind of just loose with the lore in general, but I'm pretty sure in the RPG they tell us that Zuko finds Druk as a juvenile dragon and then raises him from there. They also did confirm that he is a descendant from Ran and Sha, so it would make sense that the egg that they find in book 3 is Druk. I wouldn't be surprised if they had plans to slightly change this lore in the movie and have Zuko caring for this egg and then seeing it hatch. There is also an assassination attempt on Uncle Iroh, all to draw out Firelord Zuko as the next possible target by this mysterious assassination. This film was also going to delve deeper into his relations with Azula after the 100-year-long war. A new actress was already signed on to voice Azula after the great Grey DeLille voiced her in the original series. It sounds like they drew inspiration from the comics of Search and Smoke and Shadow, since those comics were about Azula's time in prison and eventual escape. However, it was not going to be a direct adaptation of either comic. To me at least, it kind of sounds like they were going to have Azula be the main villain of the movie, and the assassination attempts on Iroh and eventually Zuko sound like a way to have Zuko and Azula interact as adults, and finally, once and for all, either hash things out or, you know, just finish this whole situation. The only thing I kind of find weird about this whole thing is the fact that 10 years prior to the events of this movie, in Azula in the Spirit Temple, she had already taken her first steps towards redemption. And yeah, trust me, I know redemption isn't a straightforward path, but to see her as a 15-year-old in the latest comic, and then to see her as a 25, potentially 30-year-old, wherever this movie takes place, trying to kill Iroh is just a little insane. Overall, I do think it has potential to be a great movie, and would probably be an easier movie to make and market than the Aang movie. Hopefully we can get enough attention on this to where Paramount feels it'll be worthwhile to greenlit. So leave a like and comment to show Paramount that we really want this movie to be made. Who knows, maybe if I can get every single one of you to spread the message, we can get this movie made. In other, but also kind of related Avatar news, we have Dante Bosco reacting to him and all of the other voice actors being replaced.
I've been working for Avatar Studios for like 20 years now. That being said, of course, I knew about the whole project for a long time, and Mike and Brian are not only my bosses, but they're friends. So yeah, we had a whole, they called a meeting with me and them, like, we need to have a meeting. And but that's just who they are. They're very respectful, and they were like, they dropped the idea of what they're doing, like, we're gonna recast it because of, they wanted to cast this whole new generation more ethnically accurate, even though it's voiceover. I was like, that's cool. And that there's the kind of guys that think like that, and they're like, you're the only actor that can really still play the character. But it may be weird if it's like the OG you with a whole new cast of people, so we're thinking about just doing a whole, they're telling me, I'm like, you guys, again, I was like, I appreciate the respect and the friendship, but y'all don't, y'all don't need to justify your decisions to me in any way, shape, or form. But I respect that they, we had a meeting about it, we talked about it. Look, we're the OG. The OG cast is one family. It's gonna be, it's like Star Wars, Star Trek. It's like just growing with different generations, and we'll see what happens. Hopefully my voice will make it back into another iteration of something. Definitely firebendery, but we'll see what happens.
I love to see how everyone involved in this situation handled it with grace, but man, I would have loved for Dante to return as Zuko. I don't care if it's weird that he sounds the same and everyone else sounds different. I just don't care. It wouldn't bother me.